This video will discuss character manipulation functions. These functions manipulate data by extracting substrings or counting the number of characters or replacing the strings, among other things. The substring function is used to retrieve a portion of string data. The substring function requires 3 arguments. The first argument is the data that will be processed. The second argument is an integer that will represent the character you'll start with for the returned substring. And the third argument is the number of characters you want to retrieve. For example, in this graphic here, this sample select statement, the second column in the select clause uses the substring and the first argument, the zip field. The second argument is 1 and the third argument is 3. So it will start with the first character of the zip field and retrieve a total of 3 characters. So what we see in the second column of the output for the first record is 981. If you look in the first column, the full zip code is 98115. The third column also uses a substring function, and it's using the second argument as -3, which means it backs up from the last character. So it's starting from the third from the last character and goes for a total of 2 characters. So in that first record, the last character is the 5, so it backs up 3 characters, 511. So starting with the first 1 for a total of 2 characters, it returns the value 11. The instring function is used to determine if a character exists in a selected field, and it returns the value of the starting position or the location of that character within the selected field. So in this example, notice that the first column is the name, and it consists of last name, comma, first name, comma, phone number. The second column is looking to see if the name field contains the character, comma. And so it requires 2 arguments, the data that will be searched and the character sought, in this case, comma. The results of the second column of the first instring function is it shows where the first comma appears in the name field. The third column, or the second occurrence of the instring function, notice it uses 3 arguments. The third argument is the starting position of your search. So the instring function's first argument is the name field. The second argument is the character in which it's seeking, the comma. The third argument is looking for the comma, but beginning with the 10th character. The fourth column, or the third instance of the instring function, uses 4 arguments. And the fourth argument says show the second occurrence of the character we're seeking instead of the first occurrence. So again, if you look at the output, you can determine the results of these different examples of using the instring function. Remember that you can nest functions. Nesting functions is putting one function inside of another function. So you can see what we have here is the substring function, but the substring function is using as arguments the instring function. The length function simply is used to determine the number of characters in a string. The lpad and rpad functions are used to pad or fill a character string to a fixed width. If you look at the example in this graphic, the select clause in the second column is using the lpad function, and it's saying pad the first name field data to a width of 12 and pad with just empty spaces. If you look at the example output data for the second column, the lpad function is using spaces to pad to the left of the data to a length of 12 with spaces. So you'll see that each name has a varied number of spaces to the left of the name. And again, notice that since the names have different lengths, there's a different number of spaces before each name, so that the spaces and the characters in the name combine for a length of 12. The third column uses the lpad function, but this time, instead of using spaces for padding, it's using asterisks, so you can better see the results of the lpad function. The ltrim and rtrim functions are used to remove specific string of characters from data. If you look at the sample select statement and the resulting output, you can see how the ltrim function is working in this example. The replace function is used to replace a string of characters from a field or literal string with another string of characters. The concat function is used to concatenate two character strings and display it as one output.